Am I the jerk for refusing to wear jewelry my cousin bought me to a wedding after we had a falling out? I, a 23-year-old female, have a cousin I was very close to growing up. I considered her my sister and would do anything for her. Let's call her D, a 27-year-old female. D lives overseas and has a very lavish lifestyle. It's normally very hard to get in contact with her since she is always busy. Recently, D made her way back home because one of our cousins is getting married soon. She brought a beautiful jewelry set for me from India so that I could wear it to our cousin's wedding. The problem arose when I went to stay at my maternal grandmother's house, where D was staying. I was due to stay for about 4 days just to spend time with D. I lasted 2 days due to a fight that broke out between us after I asked an innocent question. The issue started when I asked her why she spoke to her father with the accent she uses overseas instead of the accent from our country that she uses with the rest of us. She flipped out on me, saying she's so sick and tired of facing backlash for speaking that way when it is how she is required to speak while being overseas and to her students there. I said okay to her and went back to scrolling through my Instagram. Then she asked, "Do you get some satisfaction when you bring someone down? Do you enjoy being negative?" I'm not going to lie, I did end up losing my temper. I told her that I asked her a question out of curiosity and without any malicious intent. If it was an issue for her, then she should have answered it the first time I asked instead of letting it slide. I told her that if she wishes to interpret my question as bringing her down, then she can have at it because I will not be explaining myself over something so small. She nodded at me and was quiet for a bit before saying, "Thank you for that. Thank you for showing me how you handle situations like this and for showing me my place. It really shows the respect you have for my feelings." She left the room and went to our grandmother. She told my grandmother I would be leaving the next day because she needed some space. I was essentially kicked out of my own grandmother's house because one of the grandchildren needed space. I am a very prideful person and truthfully, I've never begged anyone to be in my life, so I don't see the point in starting now. Upon arriving home, I spoke with my mother about the incident and informed her that I need to look for new jewelry for my cousin's wedding. My mother graciously said she would look the next time she went shopping. Recently, my mother came to me almost begging me to make up with my cousin for her sake, since my mother sees D as one of her own children. D had told my mother that she fully intends to resolve this issue, but has made no attempt to contact me regarding it. I have decided to also go no contact with my mother's side of the family due to the clear favoritism towards D, since she earns more money than me. So, am I the asshole? It's tough when family dynamics get so complicated, especially over something that seems minor. It might help to just swallow your pride and try to make peace for the sake of the upcoming wedding. After all, you don't want to taint such a special day with lingering tension. Sometimes making the first move can lead to a resolution that benefits everyone involved. Am I the jerk for not telling my partner I downloaded Bumble BFF to make friends? My boyfriend and I have been in a relationship for 4 years. He has more friends than me and hangs out with people more often. I don't have many close friends and end up hanging out with his most of the time. He has told me multiple times that I should make more friends, especially now that we have moved to a nearby town further away from friends. He has brought up Bumble BFF to me during these conversations, telling me that 2 of his friends have used it and found good friends on the app that they still hang out with. He brought up using Bumble BFF before we moved, as he thought he would be lonely in the new town and he would need people to hang out with. One day, I downloaded the app, got to the create profile screen, became exhausted over using an app to make friends, and never touched it again. Recently after moving, we got into a huge argument because he mentioned Bumble BFF again after we had hung out with some locals, and he said they were not his vibe. He said Bumble BFF would be better for finding friends. I then told him that I had downloaded the app but hadn't used it. He got furious and started asking me if I had his permission to use it and why I had not told him about it. He claimed that guys on there would start to be friends and then become flirty and start sending you nudes. He said his friends who use it have ground rules on how they use the app because of this. I tried explaining that I had downloaded it because he had brought it to my attention multiple times throughout the months and that I hadn't even gone past the profile creation step. He never told me we needed to have rules or that I needed to tell him about the app, since he was the one to tell me about it. I felt he was jealous of me with other guys who may end up liking me. I had previously been honest with him when guys we met in gay bars have sent me flirty messages on Instagram. I've shown him the messages so he could be at ease that I have never flirted back to lead anyone on. Despite this, he kept telling me that I was wrong for downloading it and that I still hadn't apologized to him for doing so and not caring about his feelings. He said my ego was too big and that I only cared about myself. I agreed that I should have discussed downloading the app. He told me to do so various times and I hadn't used it. I told him I could apologize for not communicating with him and for hurting his feelings, but I couldn't apologize for downloading the app and not discussing rules. Bumble BFF is now a completely separate app, so I also didn't think it was necessary to get his permission. I told him that it was installed for months on my phone and not once have I hidden it from him, as he often uses my phone and could have seen the logo. Am I the asshole for not apologizing to my boyfriend for using Bumble BFF when he had suggested it in the first place? You are not the one to blame. Your boyfriend is demonstrating unhealthy relationship behavior by being controlling and jealous. This kind of behavior shows a lack of trust and shouldn't be ignored. It's important to reevaluate whether this is a temporary insecurity or a deeper issue and decide how to move forward. Am I the jerk for not telling my partner that I don't want them to explain themselves? I, as an 18-year-old female-to-male transgender person, grew up in an abusive household. It has taken me a long time to come to grips with that because I have never liked to acknowledge or admit that what happened to me was not okay. A lot of my abuse and trauma have been invalidated or criticized because I was told that I should have just told someone about it or that I should have done things differently. Today, while I was talking to my partner, an 18-year-old male, it came up in conversation that I was almost sent to one of those troubled teen camps. I only got out of it because I left the family who wanted to send me. He was quick to tell me that I should have just not gone. I tried explaining that my family was extremely controlling, did not believe in the rights of children, and that the punishment for my refusal was likely to be severe. He still did not understand and insisted that I should have just said no. At this point, I told him that he should not have made a comment like that if he did not understand the situation. It really hurt my feelings and made me feel invalidated, and as if he was critical of my actions. He told me he just wanted to give options. He has done this numerous times before, and I always have to tell him the same thing. I told him I did not want him to make excuses and that he should just own up to it. He told me he was leaving and did not even say, "I love you," when he left, which we almost always do. He came back and I pointed this out. He said I should have said it. I told him that I was upset that he did not say it because he left first. He said "I love you" and I said it back. He told me it would be best if I just went to sleep for the night, and I asked why. He said I hurt him and that I did not even feel sorry. I was really confused because he never told me I hurt him, and I did not think anything I did would have. I told him that I was sorry for hurting him, but I did not realize that he was hurt, and that I would have apologized sooner if I knew he was hurt. I told him that I could not help if I did not know that he was hurt, and that it would be easier if I knew what he was hurt by. He said it upset him that I told him that he was making excuses. I told him I was sorry that it hurt his feelings, but by definition, what he did was make an excuse. An excuse is meant to explain or justify actions. Maybe he meant no ill intentions, but it did not change the fact that what he did upset me. He said he was leaving for the rest of the night, and I told him I did not want him to keep leaving and coming back if he was not going to face his actions. I told him if he was going to go to not come back. I blocked him as he read my message and he never responded. I feel like it was an overreaction. Am I the asshole? Growing up in an abusive household is tough, and it's even harder when people invalidate those experiences. Some just don't seem to understand the complexity of dealing with controlling family dynamics, especially when they insist you should have just done things differently. It's really hurtful when someone close, like a partner, fails to grasp the situation and makes dismissive comments. Hopefully, they'll learn to listen and support rather than criticize and invalidate. Am I the jerk for telling my ex-sister-in-law she can give her niece a parent if she wants, but it won't be me? My ex destroyed my life 7 years ago. He was cheating on me with multiple women and allowed one of the women to steal from us, which set both of us back because it was a substantial amount she got her hands on. To this day, the woman is unknown because she gave fake details. We divorced as a result, and one of his affair partners during the divorce admitted she was pregnant. From what I now know, the baby was conceived after I filed for divorce. However, the mother was someone in his life while we were married. My ex and I share 2 children. Our son is 11 years old, and our daughter is 10 years old. He passed away suddenly about 8 months ago. He was the sole parent of his daughter, who is currently 6 years old. Her mother did not want to be in her life. Her mother's family were also not in her life. After my ex died, his daughter was taken into foster care. She has remained in foster care. I was contacted earlier in the process and asked if I would foster her and raise her with my children. I said no. That was the end. My ex's sister got in touch with me a month ago. It was the first time in years we communicated. Even at my ex's funeral, no words were exchanged. We have bad blood. She expected me to stay with her brother for the sake of our children, despite knowing he was unfaithful. I didn't like that. She felt like I ruined my ex's life by leaving. She told me as much. He gave me a sexually transmitted infection that I didn't know I had until I went to get checked after finding out about his affairs. Ex's sister told me her niece deserved a parent and a family. She said I should keep her with her siblings and told me to cut the half-sibling nonsense. She insisted that she knows the reason my kids called her a half-sibling is because of me. She said I can undo all the bad I did and make things work for all 3 kids to have a happy home. She repeated over and over again that her niece deserved this. She mentioned how her niece has already been placed with 5 different foster families and that no family members have come forward to take her. I ignored her and ended the call without saying anything. She didn't give up and called me again a week ago from a new number. I had blocked her old one. She was repeating the same demands. I told her she can give her niece a parent if she wants, but it will never be me. I told her she should want better for her niece than someone who could never love her or want her. This caused a hysterical reaction. She told me I am a heartless person who feels okay separating siblings. Am I the asshole? Why can't the sister-in-law raise her if she is so concerned? It's sad that there are so many kids in this world that no one wants to parent, but this isn't your problem to solve. The ex-sister-in-law needs to step up instead of dumping it on you. Whatever happened in that family is their problem, not yours. Would I be the asshole if I reported suspected insurance fraud just because I'm annoyed? A few years ago, I hurt my back and needed physical therapy. I went to a local place with a few offices throughout the county, and it helped. At the start of the year, my back was bothering me, so I went back. The way my insurance works is that I have to meet my deductible before insurance covers anything. Since it was January, I knew I would be paying for this entirely out of pocket. I went into their new office, and it was horrible. There were about 30 to 35 people there, most of them patients. The ratio was approximately 6-to-1 for patients to staff. It was a big open floor plan with some tables and machines, so everyone saw everything. After waiting, someone finally noticed me, and I was put on a table. The physical therapist came over and basically humped my hip in front of the crowd. It was awkward, but whatever. He then told me to go over to a stand and do stretches. He gave these instructions from across the room. The exercises were like march in place and lift your leg to the side. If I did not understand, he would seem frustrated, come over, and show me the move. He spent a whole 5 seconds with me. After my second appointment, I realized I was not getting anything out of it and did not want to spend money on poor medical care. So I bought myself a TENS machine, looked up stretches that were actually for my back, and got a few massages. All better. 3 months later, I finally got my bill. Admittedly, I am horrible at paying bills where I have to send stuff in or call. If I cannot do it online, I wait until I am pretty much threatened with a final notice before I actually call. Today, my certified letter came in, and I was getting ready to call to pay when I looked at the itemized receipt. There were so many services on there that I had never received. Each of my appointments had an hour broken down into 15-minute intervals where a service was listed. My appointments barely lasted 15 minutes, and I did not receive a majority of the care that they were claiming. I had gotten maybe 3 to 5 minutes of individual contact or care. I called today, but the main billing manager was not in, so I will get a call on Monday. Here is my problem. The only reason I looked at the itemized list was that I had to pay completely out of pocket. Otherwise, I would have thrown it away as my insurance would have just covered it, assuming I got the services listed. This feels very fraudulent to me. Just shady and wrong. A vast majority of the other patients were elderly, and I am assuming on Medicare. Would I be the antagonist if I called my insurance company and Medicare and told them about the suspected fraud? They probably wouldn't care, but I am so angry I want to go nuclear. You would not be the asshole if you report it, putting it in the hands of the insurance provider and Medicare to investigate. If your bill is an anomaly, then the PT office won't be negatively affected, but if there's a pattern, any consequences will be well-deserved. Report them and save yourself and others the heartache that comes with their shady therapy. I'd also leave an online review to warn others of the poor service as much as the dodgy billing. Am I the jerk for not ordering food for my parent? So I never thought I would use this subreddit, but here we are. Sorry for any errors in English since it's not my first language. This situation is really dumb, and I have to give some background info for it to make sense. On Monday, my mom agreed to buy a new TV for the living room that I had been asking for a while. Our current one is about 20 years old. She agreed with the condition that I would handle everything from delivery to installation. My mom works from home some days, and the delivery range the store was giving for today was from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Because I had to work today until 1:30 p.m., I had to ask my cousin to wait at my home for the delivery guys since it was possible my mom would be busy with meetings and unable to answer. I offered my cousin lunch as thanks since she likes Chili's. Since I was going to order for her, I decided to order for the 3 of us. I sent my mother the options, which included tacos, burgers, fajitas, and margarita chicken. She messaged me back saying she didn't like any option and that she would make her own lunch. Anyway, the TV got delivered before I got home, so my cousin received it. Yay. On my way home, I tried ordering lunch, but due to the lunch rush and a long wait time, it was impossible to order from Chili's. Because of this, and since my cousin had to leave for her work at 2:30, I ordered burgers from a different place. Since my mom had rejected the options that included a burger in the first place, I only ordered 2, thinking she would also reject this option. Plus, she was in a work meeting, so I couldn't ask her. The burger got here quickly and we ate. As I was picking up the trash, my mother suddenly came out and asked what I had ordered for her. Cue the guilt trip. I'm ungrateful, I have no consideration. I act as if I hate her. I only ask for stuff, and then the waterworks. My cousin literally ran out while I tried reminding my mom. She told me she didn't want anything from the options I sent her, and we had ordered the burgers, an option she had also rejected. She shut herself in the kitchen and reheated the leftover soup from yesterday's lunch. Just to add, this is not a regular soup. It's a traditional soup from my country that I made yesterday for us as a treat and served her as lunch because she was busy with errands and work. Now she has shut herself in her room and is giving me the silent treatment. So, am I the antagonist? Wow, it sounds like a really frustrating situation. You did everything you could to accommodate your mom, especially after she declined the initial food options. Sometimes it's just better to buy something for everyone to avoid any unexpected drama. Your mom's reaction seems over the top, but it's a good lesson in future-proofing against these kinds of misunderstandings. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.